Chapter 13. The twins, in their fleshy pink party frocks and satin shoes, had run out into the street. They panted across the square, turned down the side road, and as they ran, they quarrelled. "We can't go and see those men without Mummy," said Gwendolen. "Yes, we can. I know where the Pension Maria is. It's quite near," replied Beatrice. "But it's down by the docks. There are awful men there. I'm not going without Mummy," said Gwendolen obstinately. "All right then, we'll get her, but don't blame me if she tries to half the reward." "She won't. We wouldn't let her. It's for us and no one else." A man came out of his house and stood by his garden gate. "You see, he wants us for the white slave traffic," said Gwendolen, and tried to run faster. The man, who had come out to walk his dog, crossed the road, but the twins did not stop till they reached the club where their mother was playing bridge. "Right, that's it," said Mr. Trapwood. He shut the lid of his suitcase. "In another couple of hours we can go on board." He looked longingly at the lighted ship, ready for a start at dawn. She looked so clean, so nice, so British. Mr. Lowe came to stand beside him. "Decent bunks, decent food, people speaking English. You can't believe it." But in spite of the relief of being on the way home, the Crows were broken men. Mr. Lowe was still feverish. Mr. Trapwood's insect bites had spread in an infected mass all over his face and neck, and neither of them could keep their food down. It wasn't being ill, though, that worried them the most. It was failure. They would go back with an empty berth in the cabin and a sad story to tell Sir Aubrey. He'll probably hire some other detectives and send them out. He won't give up so easily. "It's the blood," said Mr. Trapwood gloomily. "The Aristos are like that, and when it's the blood they're dealing with." Down below, the pension bell pealed loudly. Then the maid came up and knocked on the door. "There's 3 ladies to see you," she said. And before the Crows could ask any more, the door was thrown open, and Beatrice and Gwendolen, followed by their mother, came excitedly into the room. "We know where he is! We know where the Taverner boy is hiding! We know for sure!" The Crows, who had been lying weakly on the bed, sat up. Their eyes glinted. They were changed men. "Where? Where?" Beatrice said, "If we tell you, are we sure to get the reward, as soon as you found him?" "Of course," replied the Crows. "All of it?" asked Beatrice. "Yes, yes," replied the Crows. "He's here in the museum, the natural history, just down the road." Mr. Lowe was hitching up his braces, fetching a coil of rope. Mr. Trapwood was strapping his pistol underneath his jacket. They were not surprised. They had suspected Glastonbury all along. "We want to see you catch him," said the girls. "No," Miss Carter spoke sharply at her girls. "There may be a struggle, or violence." "That's true enough." The Crows were buttoning up their jackets. "You must go back home. We'll see you. We'll make sure that you get the money." "The address is Carter, Tefferny, Rio Negro. I'll write it down for you," said Miss Carter. "But send it to Miss Beatrice and Miss Gwendolen," said Beatrice. "Send it to us." "It will go to the police station. You can fetch it from there," said Mr. Trapwood, patting the bulge inside his jacket. "How do you know he's in the museum?" "Maya told us. We made her. We twisted her arm until she did. We knew she had a secret." The Crows nodded. The dark girl with the pigtail. There'd been something fishy about her from the start. "Now, ladies, if you go home, everything will be taken care of. I assure you that your reward is safe." The museum, of course, was locked, but it was not difficult to provide Professor Glastonbury's house. It was a modest bungalow in a quiet street lined with palm trees. The Crows rang the bell, then thumped on the door, and then rang again. After a long time it was opened, and an old woman peered through a crack. "We want Professor Glastonbury at once. Fetch him." "Nada," she said. "Nothing. No here." "Yes, he is. You're lying." The Crows pushed her aside. The Professor's house had a small study, a sitting room, and a bedroom with an empty bed. "Where is he? Tell us at once." They shook her roughly by the arm. "Where?" "He is in the Abidos. Fetch Bidos for a museum." "Well, find his keys then." "No keys," replied the housekeeper. "Don't lie to us." The Crows were losing their tempers. "No lies," she said. "Professor has keys on himself." "We're wasting our time," said Trapwood. "Come on, we'll go to the police. They'll force open the door." At the police station there was only a glimmer of light in one window. The Crows thumped on the door, shouted, banged on the glass, and at last a very young man, his uniform unbuttoned, came out yawning. "You must open up the museum at once," shouted Mr. Trapwood. "The Taverner boy is hiding there." "Eh?" "The museum. You must open it quickly," squeaked Mr. Lowe. The policeman shook his head. "Colonel Silver, no here." He yawned again and tried to go back inside his office, but the Crows pushed him aside. Show us where your tools are for entering a building. What is tools? Asked the befuddled young man. But the crows were already rampaging through the building, opening doors, peering in cupboards. Here, these'll do. A chisel, a crowbar, and this metal rod. We can use it as a battering ram. Right. Ignoring the young policeman, who was shouting and waving his arms, the crows ran out into the street. The outer door of the Museum of National History was massive, but the crows were no longer feeling ill or feeble as they had done an hour ago. They were men of steel now, that they were so close to success. They chiselled and they prized, they cursed and they sweated, and presently the hinges broke and they were through. Find the lights, ordered Trapwood. Mr. Lowe bumped into an anaconda, stumbled over a case of coaties and found the switch. A whole world of rainforest appeared before them. Coiled snakes, crouching monkeys, huge caimans with bare teeth. It all looked very different at night. He might be anywhere. They began to search. Come out, Taverner, we know you're there. Your time's up, boy. We won't hurt you. You'll be all right with us. They went on shouting and searching, behind a case of capybaras, under a bench from an aquarium of piranha fish, on the top of a cupboard of pelts. Nothing. They went into the second room, and the third, then up the stairs to grope among the throwing spears and necklaces of teeth. Still nothing. Downstairs again, into the professor's office and his lamp. Nothing except an eerie skeleton on a metal stand. Get the girl, the pigtail girl. We'll force her to tell us. All right. Mr. Lowe made for the door. The yellow eyes of a snarling jaguar stared at Mr. Trapwood. He didn't like the idea of being in the museum alone. No, wait. I'll come with you. We may have to bring her by force.